Hey guys, this is week number 4 of the Christian apologetics, and this week we're going to be learning about fine tuning of the universe. But just to review before we start, just quick what we learned from each week, one main point. Week number 1, we learned about the 4 different worldviews and how we use abductive reasoning to see which worldview is the most likely to be true. Number 2, the second week, we talked about um, Dr. Hubble and how he discovered that the galaxies in the sky are all moving away from us. The further they are, the faster they're moving away from us. This expanding universe points to if you go backwards in time, a beginning point before they were expanding. And week number 3 discusses the expanding universe and how Big Bang is most likely the most proven theory so far. And just to review, that Big Bang is not a cause. Um, they're not. They're not saying that Big Bang, what caused the Big Bang, but just the fact that there was a starting point and that it expanded from a singular point. Okay. The other important thing was what Stephen Hawking found was the theory of relativity and how he figured out mathematically how when the beginning of time started, because the mathematical equations and how he solved it at point of time equals 0, space equals 0. So when there is 0 volume or 0 space, there was no matter. So which shows that there was no matter at the beginning of time. Now, week number 4, we are going to talk about how the universe is shown to have intelligent design, and we'll get right into it. So, I know in the past weeks we've talked about how they've discovered that the universe is expanding, but not only is it expanding, it's expanding at the perfect rate. If it were going a little bit faster, they have found that the matter or the, the stuff in the universe would expand too fast and it wouldn't form cohesive like galaxies or planets or stars. It would just kind of disappear or move away from each other too fast. If the universe were expanding at a slower rate, the mass of matter out there, because of the gravitational pull, um, it would collapse on itself and it wouldn't hold a stable universe. So that was really important. And here's a short video to explain that.
The strength of gravity is just one of at least 30 separate parameters that must be finely tuned to produce a life-sustaining universe. Another example is the cosmological constant.
The cosmological constant describes the expansion speed of space in the universe. If space expands too quickly, then the universe will spread out so quickly that material objects can't form. So you can't get stars and galaxies and planets and the types of things that we, of course, take for granted in our universe.
Physicists have determined that the cosmological constant is fine-tuned to 1 part in 100 million billion 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 billion. Such precision has been compared to traveling hundreds of miles into space, then throwing a dart at the Earth and hitting a bullseye measuring 1/trillionth of a trillionth of an inch in diameter, an area less than the width of a single atom.
Okay, so that is just explaining how the expansion rate of the universe, it again is so precise. If it were any faster, any slower, it would miss that bullseye. Okay, so they have also found, I'll go on to this, they have also found that not only is the expansion rate just at the perfect rate to support life, there are 35 other factors that actually are absolutely necessary to have life be supported in our universe. So this is what's called the anthropic fine-tuning. It's a big word, but all it means is that um, all these different factors are perfect to sustain life, or anthropology is the study of human life. Okay, so just move on from this picture. If this were a universe creating machine, if you look at all of these dials here, each dial could represent things that are absolutely necessary to sustain life. So this one could be the force of gravity. This one could be the expansion rate. This one could be the ratio of protons to neutrons to electrons, I mean. This one could be the solar luminosity. I mean, there's actually, they found 35 different things that the universe has that is perfect to be able to support life as we know it. So, when you look at this machine, you have to ask, if any of these were off by one factor, the universe just couldn't exist, or like the human life would not be possible. So we have to think, why are the dials set just right? It makes us think maybe there was intelligent design, maybe there was a creator involved, or was it sheer luck? Okay, so we're going to investigate that. So how do we know that something was designed rather than just happened by accident? Okay, so this is a really good example. If you look at this mountainside and you look at the sides of this mountainside cliff, and you see these images etched on here like this, it is very, very low probability that these images were made just so to this perfect design. But it's not just that it's very low probability, because the probability of maybe this crack right here or this crack right here is probably very low too. There's lots of unique faces of mountainsides, but if you look at the pattern or the functional outcome of these faces or these images, you'll notice that you know what these faces look like, and they look like former presidents of the United States. So when you see that, you have to think, this didn't happen just by accident. Someone designed it and created it to look and be designed just like to look like something. Okay, so this is a good example of something that really shows intelligent design. There are some counter arguments as to the fine-tuning of the universe. One of these is called the weak anthropic principle, okay, or WAP. The principle goes like this. They say we shouldn't be surprised that we live in a universe in which the conditions that are necessary for our existence are present. Because we wouldn't be here if the universe couldn't sustain life. Basically, it's saying we exist because everything is set up perfectly, and we wouldn't be able to ask this question if we didn't exist. So it's kind of like a circular argument. It doesn't really explain why the necessary conditions were all perfectly aligned. It just says it just happens to be so. And it confuses a necessary condition with a cause. And I'll kind of give you more examples of what this argument is saying and how it has some pitfalls. The other argument that people say to the fine-tuning of the universe is what's called a multiple universe theory. This is a really good video to explain that.
Is this idea of multiple universes?
As its name suggests, the theory of multiple universes proposes that our universe is not alone. Instead, it is part of a vast ensemble of universes, each with a different different set of laws and constants.
If there's only one universe, then the conclusion that the universe looks fine-tuned because it is fine-tuned is inescapable. But if our universe is just one of a vast set, then you seem to have more resources to play with. Chance gets a new lease on life. I sometimes try to imagine what physicists have in mind that postulate this idea of multiple universes. I mean, what would the generator look like that creates them? Maybe it's like a giant monolith that has dozens of different dials, each of which has to be set to the right physical constant.
If we think of these parameters as dials, each of the dials is different. So if you produce enough universes with enough different dial settings, eventually, just by chance, you get one just right. So you might have to produce a trillion universes. But eventually, if you have a generator that's just spitting out just an enormous number of them, then it gets the right dial setting. And then by just chance, you get conditions right for life. So it's a huge cosmic lottery. That's the idea.
Okay. So if you understand, it's basically saying that the universe is so perfectly finely tuned to sustain life because our universe is one of a trillion that just happened to work out. Okay, so that's the theory. The problem with this theory is that there is really currently no evidence of any alternate universes. There are a lot of books and there's a lot of stories or movies that imagine alternate universes, but there really have been zero evidence to prove that. And if you think about that universe making machine that video showed, of course, we don't know if there's a universe making machine, but if there was, that would have to be perfectly tuned to spit out the perfect number of universes and to make the perfect universes. So who finally tuned that? So that has to be made by some kind of intelligent design for it to be perfectly finely tuned. So it becomes a very convoluted theory that really hasn't shown much evidence to prove it yet. Okay, that's it. So just to go over real quick, take-home points from this for this week is that the fine-tuning of the universe, including the expansion rate being so perfect, gravitational force, 35 other factors that make this universe just perfect so that there can exist life. That fine tuning is extremely improbable. 1 in 10 to the 43 chance that this was luck. Okay, but when you add that very improbability or that very improbable fact plus the recognizable pattern of cause and effect of intelligent design, like that mountainside with the presidents, those two factors really make this intelligent design a much more reasonable explanation for the fine-tuning of the universe. Okay, that's all, guys. We'll see you this Saturday.